Brodes Media.
The number one blame here is the players. The number one blame is fully on the players. Trey Turner, Nick Castellanos, JT Realmuto. Don't forget, Alec Boehm was not good for a long time. One home run does not change the fact that he was miserable behind Bryce Harper for protection, and the manager decided to stay with that. One home run does not change the fact that you were unsuccessful in a lot of these games to close it out when you were up 2-0, when you were up 3-2 with 2 home games left. It's so ridiculous that happened. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Part of me wonders if I was in so much disbelief that I was unaware of what we were really talking about. Now, as we're 24 hours later, it's settling in. It seems I pushed a certain button. And when I say that the Phillies are better, that upsets people. Let me make this very clear. The Phillies are better. If the Diamondbacks lost that in 6 or 7, what would you all think out there in Arizona? What would the national media say? Very simple. They ran into a better team. They were an 84-win team. They just weren't ready yet. They put up a good fight. There's a reason why. And if you say, well, it happens all the time in this sport. And if it didn't, the Orioles would probably still be alive. The Atlanta Braves wouldn't have lost to the Phillies. The Dodgers would still be competing. And you're right. If those fan bases don't think that they lost to a worse team, then they are unaware of this sport. Yes, the Braves should be extremely disappointed thinking that they lost to a team that was worse than them. Absolutely. If not, you are a failure of a fan. The heartbreak sucks, but unfortunately, this is what we sign up for as fans. And you have to live in it. When it goes wrong, it goes wrong. We are in a huge funk right now of getting super close, playing with greatness, flirting around for it, or with it, excuse me. But then you pay for it. You take a hard loss, and the entire city eats it. And that's where we are. And I embrace that because it hurts due to the fact that you're so close. And today's not the day for the big overhead view, and that sounded like I was going in that direction. But this is why it hurts. It's because you're right there. And really, you're probably the best team standing when you look at both CSs, the ALCS, the NLCS. You thought the Phillies had one of the best chances because, man, their starting pitching was no joke. You got electric stuff. And, yeah, you were tearing the cover off the ball, but you had nasty, elite level. Wow, you got to be kidding me. These stats line up with Sandy Koufax level of pitching. But somehow, the offense just died. The batteries done. And it happened so quickly. I said this a lot yesterday, but I want to reiterate it. The number one reason why you lost this baseball game was Trey Turner, Nick Castellanos, even Bryce Harper. And it sucks to hear him wear it on his shoulders the way that he did afterwards, saying he let this city down, he let the fans down, because we all saw it. Those 2 fastballs needed to be crushed. And knowing Bryce Harper in the postseason over the last 2 years, he's been Mr. Clutch. He's been Mr. Moments. He's been put on the spotlight because, I mean, Bedlam at the bank. Bryce Harper, the swing of his life. That's what Bryce Harper has become. So to watch one go right by him, I almost fainted right there, right in the middle of the action. I almost collapsed to my knees and smacked my head on the coffee table because I couldn't believe it. Oh, it's tragic. Oh, man. Pisses me off. But the number one reason why you lost this game was on your stars. With that said, And this is where we get into the Rob Thompson angle. And I also want to make this very clear. So when you're listening later on and you say, man, it really sounds like you're killing Rob Thompson here and you're crushing him. I think Rob Thompson has the tools to be a very good manager. I do. I think he could be a very good manager. And I think a lot of what he has done has worked out. He's not perfect, but he's very strong, and he connects with his players. Now, unfortunately, he goes so overboard with the I believe in you thing, it costs him, and it backfires. It works, but it also backfires. And I think him staying true the entire time, part of coaching is making adjustments. Part of coaching is having tough conversations that aren't easy this time of the year. Part of coaching is on the fly. It's not smooth. What do you do in those positions? And even though Alec Boehm hit a home run to tie it up in Game 7, maybe if you're more willing to protect Bryce Harper, then you're not even in a Game 7 to begin with. And the more and more I think about Rojas in the fourth, oh man. You know, there's Phillies fans and Phillies media that think it's getting overblown. That's not why you lost. You lost because of Nick. Nick striking out before deserves more criticism than Rojas. And I'm not even backing off of that claim. I'm with you on that. I feel that way. You pay Nick Castellanos that much money for that spot. And especially because he was doing some dirty things in the playoffs before that ugly 20-plus stretch at the plate. For him and Trey Turner to end it on that note, it is horrific. When you study and look at the fourth, though, just because Nick failed, that inning's not over. And Carroll, who's one of the better players for the Diamondbacks, was not popping off this series. It took him until Game 7, and he was on the bags, running around the diamond. They were very active. Hell, Ranger Suarez, a lefty's on the bump. They're taking off on first movement, and they should have had him out. Bryce Harper threw it just a tad too high, but that's how aggressive that team was. Carroll flipped the switch. He's getting hits all around. He's getting the sac fly. He was unreal in Game 7. Sometimes someone else has to step up when those guys go quiet. And if that happens to fall on a Game 7, then so be it. That's when it happens. And whether the next guy who steps in my scenario fails or not, Jake Cave, Pache, it's not about that. It's just maximizing the moment. Did you do everything you possibly could to succeed based on the roster? Yeah, Dave Dombrowski did not put a big bat on that bench, and Pham was an addition, and there were a lot of additions that helped out their respected teams. And if you're going to work with the Rojas in center, knowing that he doesn't contribute a lot offensively, there is something to be said about Dave Dombrowski not tweaking the roster in that specific role, and that is something that backfired on them, just like the lack of hitting with runners in scoring position. That reared its ugly head. But I don't know if they maximized the moments. They left meat on the bones. So it doesn't satisfy me. It's actually so horrific to bat Rojas there.